Good afternoon, everyone. Time's 2 o'clock, so we'll make a start. A prayer. Creator and Sustainer. Okay. Creator and Sustainer of all things and all people. You are the source of all wisdom and light. Enlighten our minds to receive your guidance, so that you may lead us into true wisdom. May all that we say and do in the service of this county, whether as elected member or as an officer, be in accordance with your will and for the good of your people. Amen. Evacuation procedure. In the event of having to evacuate the council chamber, would everyone leave by one of the two exits at the rear of the chamber? Officers will be on hand to assist any disabled persons. Mobile phones. May I ask all members who have mobile phones with them to ensure that they are switched off so they will not disturb this meeting. Chairman's announcements. Tom Purnell. Tom Purnell, Assistant Chief Executive, will be leaving at the end of August and taking a break. He has worked on the County Council for more than 25 years, with a total of 38 years in local government to his name. Tom has been Assistant Chief Executive since December 2013, a role he has undertaken calmly, thoroughly, and with a great deal of tact and diplomacy. The Council has a great deal to be thankful to Tom for, including his commitment to economic development and growth for the county and his excellent understanding of and approach to the partnership landscape. His leadership of the local resilience function, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic, has been exemplary. I'm sure members will join with me in placing on record their appreciation of Tom's contribution to the County Council over the years and in wishing him all the very best for the future. Jane Moore, paralegal. Jane Moore, in legal services, not the children and family services, will be retiring at the end of July after 50 years of service with the County Council. This is probably a record for the longest ever service, and I cannot let the opportunity pass without thanking and congratulating Jane on reaching this incredible milestone. Jane has been working as a paralegal in legal services, making traffic orders, dealing with commons registrations, as well as other property work. Her hard work, diligence, and experience will be missed by colleagues, but I'm sure members will join me in wishing Jane a long and happy retirement. The Armed Forces Week. Monday the 24th of June marked the start of Armed Forces Week and Veteran June Sisson. Veteran June Sisson, who served as communication specialist in the Women's Royal Army Air Force, raised the Armed Forces Day flag at a ceremony at Standeasy. On Saturday, the 29th of June, together with the Lord Lieutenant and Lord Mayor of Leicester, I attended the Armed Forces Day in Leicester City. There was a parade through the city centre comprising horses and dogs from the Defence Animal Training Regiment, service personnel, veterans, the Seaforth Highlanders and cadets. Following the parade, there was an outside drumhead service in Jubilee Square. It certainly was a very moving occasion. The county service. I will be hosting my county service at St Mary's Church in Mount Mowbray on Sunday the 6th of October. The sermon will be given by the Right Reverend Martin Snow, Bishop of Leicester. All members will receive an invitation in due course. Civic life. Since the council meeting in May, where you elected me as chairman, I have attended a number of events representing you and the council, and I have to say it is a real pleasure to carry out this role. I look forward to continuing to represent you in the coming year. Moving on to the next item, agenda item number 2, the minutes. I move that the minutes of the meeting of the Council held on the 15th of May 2024, copies of which have been circulated to members, be taken as read, confirmed and signed. Mr. Shepherd, will you second?
Seconded, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Any comment? Thank you very much. Moving on. Agenda item number 3, declarations of interest. I invite members who wish to do so to make declarations of interest in respect of items on the agenda for this meeting. Are there any declarations? Thank you very much. Variation in order of business. I have agreed to vary the order of business as provided for in Standing Order 5 to enable Agenda Item 5 to receive position statements under Standing Order 8 to be taken next. So we move on to Agenda Item number 5 to receive position statements from members of the Cabinet. Leader.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for varying the order. Before I start, can I place on record my thanks to Tom and Jane for the exemplary work they've done for this County Council, and I'm sure both of them will be missed. Also, can I congratulate Labour on their resounding victory in the general election, and in particular, can I congratulate Peter Bedford, who is with us here today, on his victory in Mid-Leicestershire, and Amanda, obviously, for winning North West Leicestershire. Commiserations, obviously, to Craig, who, although I wasn't well enough to do much, certainly supported him. And, of course, commiserations to Michael, who's actually came second this time, so I think he's done well there. So what I'm speaking about is I've spoken with my group yesterday, and I spoke with opposition group leaders, so I could speak there with Michael, because he is the opposition leader. I spoke with Michael, Max, because I didn't know you were going to be leader until today. And I'm officially informing Council that I have been diagnosed with cancer, and I'll soon be undergoing treatment, and therefore will have to take a back seat in the short term. It will be my intention to update you in September meeting. So in the circumstances, I've asked Deborah to step up and be acting leader. She's had to do it for the past month without being officially recognised, and I'm very grateful to her for taking on that responsibility. Consequent to that, later in the agenda, I'm making some changes to the Cabinet membership. So Robert Ashman, who's been my support member, I'm going to make him a full Cabinet member so he can take on the responsibilities around economic development, strategic planning, regional policy, etc., etc. And with a new Labour government, I'd imagine there'll be even more. So it's important that we have a full-ranking Cabinet member there, because then he can report back at Cabinet briefings, etc., to Deborah. So I thank him for taking on that job as well. He wasn't exactly keen to do it, because obviously, as you know, Robert's probably retiring in May, but I'm grateful for him to do it. So I'm not going to say any more. The rest of the rather short leader's statement will be dealt with by Deborah. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sure the whole council will join with us to wish their best wishes for Nick and his recovery, and we will all work together to ensure this council continues on the right track for the next few months. So just to add a bit more to the leader's position statement, obviously I'd like to personally congratulate Peter Bedford and Amanda Hack on their election as Leicestershire MPs, and at the same time commiserations to Craig Smith and Michael Blaney, who stood for election. It takes a lot of guts to stand for election, so I think we're really honoured that we had 4 members of this county council put themselves forward for election. The East Midlands County Combined Authority, at the last meeting in his position statement, the leader congratulated Claire Ward on her election. He subsequently wrote to the Mayor, and they've agreed to meet later this month. We want this meeting to go ahead, and we will be in touch with their office after today's meeting. The Leicestershire Business Board. So this board is set up to set as an advisory body to the new Leicester and Leicestershire Business and Skills Partnerships, so the successor to the LELP, the LEP, and will be led by the City and County Councils. Andy Reid, who was chair of the LEP prior to its ceasing, has accepted a joint invitation from the Leader of the County Council and the City Mayor to chair the Business Board, which has been very welcomed. Arrangements are in hand to recruit to the board. In addition to business representations, membership will include higher education, further education, the district councils and the voluntary sector. So members' updates. So following the Leader's announcements, Council will be later invited in the meeting to note the changes that the Leader proposes to make to the Cabinet. There will also be some changes to the Scrutiny Commission membership, and Mr Bannister will be joining the Commission. The Chief Exec will implement this under his delegated authority. It will also be proposed at the next Council meeting that Mr Champion be appointed as a Cabinet support member to Mrs Richardson. Thank you, Mr Chairman.
Thank you very much. Mr Harrison Rushton. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I just obviously wanted to address the Council because obviously the statement which we just heard for me is not only a political one, but also a very personal one. And, you know, whenever cancer enters anyone's life, it's incredibly overwhelming and tricky. But, you know, I've seen Dad not only in work but also behind the scenes, and he's been absolutely stalwart, incredible in how he's responded. And a lot of people said to me, he can't, you know, he'll get through it because he's just so miserable. And it's, there is probably an element of truth there, and it is true. But I think, you know, the way he's come to us today and being so open and honest is just a testament to his character. And, you know, it shows that we can all be open about these type of health things. And so, Dad, Leader, good luck. And everyone join me in giving him a round of applause.
Thank you. Mr Mear. I couldn't find you then, Mear.
Cheers, Mr Chairman. I think I personally and everybody on this side echo what you've just said and wish Nick all the best and the speediest of recovery from cancer. I know firsthand as well, my mum suffered from cancer. Luckily, she survived and she still survives and is in good health. So hopefully that will be the outcome there, and we wish him all the best. And congratulations to Deborah for stepping up. Thank you very much for doing that. The council needs leadership at a time like this, and I'm sure you're going to be showing sterling leadership. Congratulations to Pete. Pete, you're here. Congratulations, and Amanda, who isn't here, and she's just been sworn in, so she couldn't come in this afternoon. And commiserations to Chris and Michael. I've been there personally, guys, so I know how it feels like, but I'm sure you'll get future opportunities as well. And it's just fantastic that two of our members are in Parliament now, that we can just grab them now and tell them about our concerns. But hopefully they can then relay to their respective parties and government as well through Amanda, you know, the issues that we face in Leicestershire. East Midlands Combined Authority. I'm glad we're talking to Claire, actually, Claire Ward. I think it's important. I think we as Leicestershire don't want to get left behind. And we talked about this in the leaders meeting this morning as well, the Leicestershire district leaders, and it was very important to us that Leicestershire isn't forgotten by this new Labour government as well, and we want to make sure that whatever spoils come through devolution also filter down to Leicestershire. And on the business board, I have to declare interest, I think. I was just nominated onto that board this morning as well, so it'll be interested to see how that works, and I'll feed back as well to this chamber the outcome, but looking forward to working to that. But Nick, all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Bray.
Just very briefly, Chairman, I just wanted to add my best wishes, my sincere best wishes to Nick for the future, and I hope his treatment is very successful. Obviously, in my role as leader of Hinckley, Nick and both stints, Nick has been leader here, and we've always got on, I think very, very well. We don't always agree, but we've always worked well together. I just wanted to offer my best wishes to Nick. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr Hunt. Oh, okay. Mr Mullaney, your turn now.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Firstly, I will obviously add my best wishes to Nick. We're sorry to hear about your ill health, and I hope that you get through it well, and I'm sure everybody in the County Council is behind you and supporting you and hoping that you get through this period of ill health and are back in good health as soon as possible. Thank you to Tom and Jane for their years of work at the Council and the contributions that they made. Congratulations to Peter and Amanda on their elections, and commiserations to Craig on his. In Hinckley and Bosworth we were obviously disappointed not to win, but pleased to have made a lot of progress compared to last time. East Midlands Combined Authority, obviously we need to keep banging the drum for Leicestershire and make sure under the new government that we're not forgotten, and that we keep up the fight for fair funding. And I add my congratulations to Andy Reid on his appointment as chair of the business board. He's obviously got a lot of experience, and I'm sure we'll do a good job there.
Thank you. Mrs Taylor.
Thank you, Mr Chairman, and thank you all for your kind words for Nick, and I think that speaks for all of us here. Yeah, I think our Leicestershire MPs, new and old, need to be shouting loud and clear for Leicestershire so we don't get left behind, and we need to ensure that we move forward with all available funding that is for us. So we'll just see what comes out over the summer and obviously into the autumn statement from the new government. Congratulations, Jill, on your appointment to the business board. I'm sure that'll be very useful for all of us in Leicestershire. So I won't drag on any further, but thank you very much, Mr Chairman, for everyone's kind words.
Thank you, Mrs Taylor. And on a personal note, Nick, from myself, best wishes. You've got the whole council's support, that's more than obvious, and we wish you well, and we'll see you back. Great. Cheers. Moving on. Lead Member for Children's Families, Safer Communities and Regulatory Services. I will now invite the Lead Member for Children's Families, Safer Communities and Regulatory Services to make her position statement. Over to you, Mrs Taylor.
Thank you. It is quite a long position statement, but I think it's quite important. I do cover all these points as well. So the Leicestershire County Council Children and Family Services was inspected by Ofsted in April this year, and it was a full inspection. So the inspection looked at all areas of children's social care and targeted early help across the department over a 3-week period. The final report on the inspection, including the final judgment, is due to be published on the 12th of July. It should have been the middle of June, but obviously the election delayed us publishing our results. So it will be published on this Friday about 9:30 on the Ofsted website. So while I can't actually share the final judgment ahead of the publication date, I can share that I'm very pleased with the outcome of the inspection. Look forward to sharing the full judgment and grades with you all on Friday. I'm sure you'll be aware my social media will likely to be buzzing quite a lot on that Friday. So in the meantime, I just wanted to share some of the feedback from the inspectors. So the inspectors found that the services for children and families in Leicestershire has much improved since the previous inspection in 2019, when the judgment for overall effectiveness was required improvement to be good. So improvement has taken place across the department, has been underpinned by the ambitious and child-focused approach that's created a culture whereby the experiences and progress of children are at the heart of social work practice. In the feedback about services for children needing help and protection, our early help offer and range of preventative and targeted services was highlighted alongside praise for the family hubs on our early help assessments. The inspectors praised the work undertaken to reshape services for children and their families through the development of the new Family Help Service that brings together targeted early help and work with children in need. Our work to the front door of children's services was praised for responding quickly and accordingly to the level of need and the risk in the presenting information, and for its strong assessments and decision making to ensure that children benefit from the right service at the right time. Assessments across services were complimented for being timely, comprehensive and of good quality. Children's plans are said to be realistic, identify clear desired outcomes, and are child-focused and written to the child, which helps to capture the child's lived experience. Inspectors saw that social workers know their children well and develop effective relationships with parents, enabling them to understand what needs to change. The inspectors commented on our work to support young carers in Leicestershire and bespoke individual and group support provided. One child who spoke to the inspectors said, "Being a young carer is hard work and demanding, but the help I've had has made a massive difference. I've been encouraged to share my views with council leaders, and this has made a difference for me and other young carers. Going to the groups has also been good. It's been friendly, welcoming, and a safe place for me to go and share my experiences. I don't think there's anything more powerful than actually the voice of a young carer." Inspectors also looked at our services that support children in care and those services that work with care leavers. In relation to these services, inspectors commented that children in care receive a service that results in their life experiences significantly improving, and the department is aspirational for children in their care and demonstrates a determination to improve children's experience. They saw a strong commitment by leaders, managers and social workers to support children to remain with their families where appropriate. Ofsted commented that relationships that social workers have with the children are a notable strength that gives children much needed stability and helps them to feel cared for and cared about. The fostering adoption service was highly commended by Ofsted, who commented that our foster carers are offered consistent and reliable support from social workers and that they feel valued. Our work to support care leavers was recognised as being strengthened, and care leavers fed back to Ofsted positively about the support they receive. One care leaver said, "The service I've received has changed my life. My PA is kind, they care about me." Another care leaver said, "The service has been amazing and over time they have helped me out as much as they can." And finally, Ofsted noted the fact that the Chief Executive, the Director of Children's Services and the lead member and support cabinet member and senior leaders have worked tirelessly to transform the quality of help and protection for vulnerable children in Leicestershire and praised the progress and improvements made across the service. An overwhelming majority of our staff told inspectors that they like working in Leicestershire and value the support and the investment that they have had from their managers, and as a result of this they are making a positive difference to children's experiences and progress. The inspectors saw the experience of the culture created across the service that enables social work practice to develop and thrive, which results in many families achieving positive change and improved outcomes for children. I'd just like to end by thanking staff across the department for their hard work, their focus and determination to improve services for their children and families. The inspection outcome is a significant achievement for children's services and for children and families across Leicestershire. I just want to caveat that members, if they do make any comments, just to make sure that they don't mention the Ofsted grading, because we're not allowed to officially release that until it's published on Friday. So please just take care with your comments that you make. Thank you very much for giving me the time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. If you wish to speak, please raise your hands. I will then call you to speak. And if Mr. Mullaney wishes to speak, I will call him last before the lead member's right to reply. We have Mr. Mear first.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Councillor Taylor, thank you very much for this position statement. I think I was here when we did the last one, and it wasn't a very good read, but this one actually looks really, really good. And through yourself, I just want to thank the department for pulling out all the stops, really, and having a sea change. And it's very positive to see such a position statement in such a crucial area of the county council. And sometimes, you know, you have to thank the lead member as well. I think you've done a sterling job. I'm not saying that just for the sake of saying it, because I think you really have. And sometimes, you know, you have to put praise where it's due. But yeah, it looks like I'm looking forward to the report on Friday and reading it. But yeah, just thank you very much for turning it around.
Thank you, Mr. Drill. Mrs. Radford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I shall be careful not to say anything I'm not supposed to say. I've just got to say that we've got to follow on with our Go Learn department. We shall be having the Ofsted inspection soon, so I hope we do as well. And I can just like to confirm that in my department, adults, we work with care leavers when they pass from the children's department to the adults department. We do look after them and hope that that will be appreciated by everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Radford. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I can just indulge in just passing on my congratulations to Mr. Bedford, who for a fantastic campaign, and also my congratulations to Mrs. Hack as well. I'll certainly be taking quite a keen interest in her first term. So I'd also like to extend my heartfelt best wishes to the leader as well. But just going on to the Children and Families Department and the recent Ofsted inspection, it has been an incredible period of time going through the Ofsted inspection. I'd like to really personally thank all the officers, all the staff within the department. They have been an amazing group of people to work with this past year. But I'd also like to echo Jules' comments about the leadership as well. So massive congratulations to Mrs. Taylor. She is so passionate about this department, and it shows with absolutely everything she does. She also has a fantastic support with as well that quite carries the bags for her, but she certainly does. But thank you, Chairman.
Thank Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mrs. Newton.
Thank you very much. Deborah, that's the second speech we've had from you and young carers, and I'm delighted that you've been taking so much of an interest. As you know, it was my research area, one of my research areas at university. And I think one of the most important things is that there's that seamless transition from childhood into adulthood, and to ensure that there's proper services put in to help young people to make that transition. So thank you very much for actually spending so much time and looking after the interests of young carers.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rushton.
Just briefly, Chairman. I mean, obviously, when we put our manifesto out at the last election, we promised to protect the vulnerable, and this is us delivering on our promises. I also want to congratulate, obviously, the Chief Exec. You know, these things like this start from the very top. He is mentioned by Deborah, but obviously it starts from the top. Obviously, Jane has done incredible work in there, and really, not just Jane, all of the staff in there have really, really stepped up to the plate. So I want to place on record as leader my thanks to the entire team. And of course, not forgetting Deborah and Craig. Deborah is, as Craig said, passionate about this area. I hope she can still carry on being as passionate about it in my absence, and that's why I want to not overburden her with jobs that I would normally do. So thank you very much, Deborah, and thank you very much, Craig. And thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rushton. Mr. Hunt. Mr. Mullany.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to Mrs. Taylor, and I will add my appreciation for the efforts of all our staff. It's a very difficult responsibility they have, particularly with all the financial pressures that affect everything the County Council does at the moment. So I just add a well done to all the staff for all they've done for our community.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm feeling the love in the chamber today across everything we've done so far, so that I'm really thankful for that, because this is a whole council response to this work. So yeah, I appreciate everyone's kind words, even from opposition members. That does mean a lot to me to get that praise from them, so thank you very much. And just to pick up, there has been a whole team effort. It's not one person. We're working as a team, and I couldn't do it without the support network that's around me as well, from my cabinet support, Craig, and for Christine, where we work with the adults and the public health team and all that. So it's a whole council. It's not just one team or one person. So I think we need to, you know, accept that we've all played a part in that. And thank you for Nick, and I will definitely continue on this route. Children are my passion, and I have no intentions of stepping down that. I will just work more hours, if there are any more in the day, than I already work. But I will ensure that we keep this sustainable now, because we've worked really hard to get to this place, and we need to. There's still more work to do, and we won't be complacent. We'll continue making improvements. But thank you very much to everyone for their kind words.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Taylor, and thank you everyone for their contributions. Moving on to the lead member for Community and Staff Relations. I'll now invite the lead member for Community and Staff Relations to make her position statement. Mrs. Bosnick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And it is with great pleasure for me to introduce the Community's annual report, which brings together and celebrates work in partnership with communities that has been carried out within my portfolio. Initiatives identified in the report have helped to support and strengthen the achievements of communities over a wide range of themes, including working towards net zero, community resilience, neighbourhood planning, equality and diversity, employment and training, and volunteering. During the past year, there's also been a continuous focus on supporting people with health and well-being and with the cost of living through support from Citizens Advice Services, food banks, furnitures and white goods providers, and the Shire Grants Programme, which unfortunately is no longer available, but it was very successful whilst we had it. The way that the County Council works with communities, both now and in the future, is set by the Council's community strategy, our community's approach. The approach provides a framework for all our engagement and communities centred on partnership and developing solutions based on the assets, priorities and aspirations of our different communities. It is well illustrated by our work with communities to support delivery of social value for Leicestershire's residents and by our collaborative support for parish and town councils, neighbourhood planning groups and the Leicester Rural Partnership. I hope that the initiatives featured in this report provide inspiration for continuing support for the potential of grassroots initiatives and the positive outcomes that can be achieved thanks to the commitment, talent and skills of people in Leicestershire. The annual report was circulated to you yesterday. It's in the Members' Digest and it's also available on the Leicestershire Community's website and on the Members' Hub. And I would encourage you to have a look at it. There are some fantastic things that some members of our communities have put together, some of them with an idea that's come from one person, and it's grown to a whole village involvement. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Posnett. Again, if you wish to speak, please raise your hands and I will then call you to speak. If Mr. Mullaney wishes to speak, I will call him last before the lead member's right to reply. Mr. Mear.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councillor Posnett, thank you very much, and thanks for circulating the report yesterday as well. It's encouraging to read that we're doing the best we can with our communities and the networks that we're building. In adults and social care, one of the things that happened was community libraries, for example, not exactly the same thing, but it tells you the network that were built and the volunteers that were brought on board, and ultimately the success that it became. You know, yes, one or two fell by the wayside, but ultimately it was a success. And I think that's the ethos that runs through this report as well when you read it, is the collaborativeness of Leicestershire County Council to bring on those volunteers. Just a touch of personnel aspect on that one. Neighbourhood planning is very important in my division. We have the Belfoundry estate, which, you know, is very run down and very vulnerable. People live there. And I think when we're looking at resources and putting resources in place, we should look at really, really vulnerable areas and think, actually, this is where we need to target just to lift them up a bit more. And it may be in collaboration with districts as well, but partnership working with our districts. I know parishes were mentioned as well. So it's something that we do on a broader scale, especially with ever decreasing resources as well. So if the new Labour government doesn't give us as much resources as I think they would give us, maybe that, you know, we still need to do this collaborative work and we still need to make people's lives better. And also what's gone previously, fantastic that it was, may not be possible in the future, and how we, you know, cut our cloth accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mear. We move on. Mr. Hunt. No. Mr. Mullaney. Thank you.
Just to say thank you to Mrs. Posnett for the report and the details of what happens in many of our communities that are within the report. Thank you.
Mrs. Posnett, right to reply to what you've heard from Mr. Mear.
I just like to say thank you very much. I'm not sat in an office all the time. I'm out there actually representing the county and meeting the people that vote for all of us, whoever we are. And so I do enjoy that part of my job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I normally say here moving forward, but it looks as though we're moving back to item 4 here. But questions asked under Standing Order 7. The questions and replies set out in the order paper will be taken as read and entered into the minutes. I have received no notice of supplementary questions. Thank you. To move on again, to consider reports of the Cabinet Scrutiny Commission, Scrutiny Committees and other bodies, agenda item number 6, report of the Corporate Governance Committee. I now move to Mr. Barclay, please, wherever Tom is. Yeah,
Thank you, Chair. I'm pleased to present the annual report of the Council's Corporate Governance Committee for 23-24. This is the first such report of the committee, and it highlights its role and work undertaken to ensure the Council has adequate and effective governance, risk management and internal control frameworks in place. As a result of the work undertaken this year, the committee is able to provide the Council with assurance across all these areas, We have taken specific monitoring of the Council's arrangements for risk management and taken a deep dive into key risks identified, including risks regarding the funding for SEND services, the possible impacts for poor quality care commission inspection for adult social services, as well as looking at the Council property occupancy risk management. We have reviewed the reports provided by our external auditors, including the audit of the Council's accounts and the Pension Fund's statement of accounts, and the auditors have regularly attended meetings to answer our queries. We have also monitored the Council's internal audit activity, monitoring the delivery of high importance recommendations made. I would like to thank the members of the committee for their interest and commitment to the committee's work. As ever, we are dependent on the work of others, and I would also like to thank our officers and the external auditors for their support throughout the year. During the year, the committee saw the appointment of 2 independent members, Mr. Grimes and Mr. Maxfield, who bring an additional perspective to the committee's assurance, and I would like to thank them for their contributions. Finally, I would like to emphasise the role of the committee is necessary to ensure public confidence in how the council is run. This will be particularly important next year given the financial pressures faced. The committee will continue to work hard with officers to understand and strengthen governance across the council, to provide challenge and to ensure the council is compliant with standards and that any risks are escalated quickly where appropriate. I therefore move that the information contained in the Corporate Governance Committee Annual Report 23-24 attached as Appendix A to this report be noted.
Thank you very much. I turn to Mr. Richardson to second the motion. Thank you.
Very happy to second, Mr. Chairman.
At this moment, there doesn't seem to be any questioners at all or any comments to be made. So just to remind you that the motion is that the information contained in the Corporate Governance Committee Annual Report 2023-24 attached as Appendix A to this report be noted. So we'll now take a vote on the motion. All in favour, please raise their hands. Thank you very much. I don't believe there are any against at all. No, they're not. Thank you very much, everyone. So moving on, we move to the revised members' planning code of good practice. Mr. Barclay will move.
Thank you, Chair. This report includes minor amendments to the planning code of conduct, particularly in respect of the use of social media in relation to planning issues. The proposed changes are supported by the Development Control and Regulatory Body at its meeting on the 4th of April and considered by the Corporate Governance Committee on the 20th of May. So that's the only change. So I propose the revised Planning Code of Good Practice attached to Appendix A to this report be adopted by the Council.
Thank you, Mr. Barclay. Mr. Richardson, second.
Happy to second, Mr. Chairman.
Any comments from anyone? To remind you, you are voting on the motion that the revised planning code of good practice attached as Appendix A to this report be adopted. All those in favour, please raise their hands. Thank you very much. Are there any against at all? I don't believe there are, but to check. No. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 7, report of the Scrutiny Commission. Moving to Mr. Mullaney, who will move a motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm pleased to present this year's annual scrutiny report, which highlights the excellent work undertaken by the Commission and Leicestershire's 5 other overview and scrutiny committees. It has been another busy year with an extensive range of work carried out by each of the scrutiny committees, and I'm impressed with the quality of scrutiny and the number of recommendations made, which I'm confident will make a real difference to the people of Leicestershire. Good examples include the scrutinisation of adult social care support and accommodation, and looking at the levels of funding for nursing care provision, particularly those with complex care needs. the delivery of the Council's Transforming Special Educational Needs and Disabilities and Inclusion Programme, and SEND Transport, which, as with many other local authorities, are the highest demand and highest cost areas the Council faces. We've also looked at the response of the Council and its partners to flooding following Storm Henk, which caused disruption to so many of our residents. And we've had 2 focused scrutiny review panels that have looked at the possible closure of some of the recycling and household waste sites and the proposed stopping of Shire community and environmental grants, which have happened due to the increased financial pressures that the Council has faced. The County Council has always taken great pride in the role of scrutiny, which is a key component of good governance, helping to secure efficiencies and drive improvements in public services. The scrutiny process adds value to the decision-making process and helps to shape council policy on issues that are important to people who live and work in the county. Looking forward, this will continue to include delivery of SEND services, SEND Transport, and the council's net zero priorities, and also challenges with delivering a balanced budget, as we seek to achieve the best possible outcomes for residents and businesses across Leicestershire in these difficult times. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the members of the scrutiny commissions for their excellent work, including the Vice Chair of the Scrutiny Commission and Commissioners, and the support of officers in all departments with the work of scrutiny, and for partners who've also supported and been involved in our work, and to the Cabinet colleagues who've attended our meetings and answered questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mullaney. Mrs. Page.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm too very pleased with the level of quality work undertaken by the scrutiny committees over the last year. I also want to express my gratitude to the County Council officers and the partner organisations for their continued dedication and the hard work throughout the whole year. Their contributions are invaluable to the scrutiny process, and they each play a key role in supporting and keeping scrutiny members informed, answering some very, very challenging questions. I would like to thank the co-opted members and the members of the public who've contributed their time to raise questions on a range of subjects and attended some of our scrutiny meetings. Finally, I would like to join the chairman in thanking my fellow scrutineers for their committed good scrutiny and their desire to get the best for Leicestershire residents. It is true we have another tough year ahead. However, all scrutiny members are committed to their role, and I'm confident we will continue to engage proactively with officers, our cabinet colleagues, to tackle these challenges. And again, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Page. Mr. Rushton.
Briefly, Chairman, as you know, we value scrutiny, we resource scrutiny as best we can in these challenging times. I thank Michael and Rosita for the work that you do as commissioners, and also all the scrutiny chairs on my side for the work they do. It's important that we have scrutiny. It's important that it's run correctly, and whilst I remain leader, we'll continue to value scrutiny and the work that members do on all of our behalf, really. Thank you.
Mr. Meyer.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I echo what Mike says actually on scrutiny, and if my colleague Amanda was here, she would have echoed some of the same. And the measure of scrutiny and good scrutiny is actually the topics that they scrutinise and if they relate to our residents and what our residents would need. And you just have to look down the list of topics to find out that exactly that's what it is, you know, SEND Transport, school admissions, to name a few. It's key things that the council, scrutiny commission is looking at to improve. You know, that's it. We just want to make sure that the decisions that cabinet make have the full weight of all the members of the county council, and scrutiny is a good way of doing that. And I think cabinet have listened, and I was privileged to sit on the last scrutiny commission, and I found it very interesting, very topical, and engaging, and that's what we want scrutiny to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I don't believe there's any other questions, so I'll turn to Mr. Mullaney, please.
Just to echo my thanks to everyone involved in the scrutiny process, and especially Rosita as Vice Chair on the Scrutiny Commission. And so thank you to everyone, and look forward to another year of work.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mullaney. The motion is that the information contained in the Overview and Scrutiny Annual Report 2023-24 attached as Appendix A to this report be noted, proposed by Mr. Mullaney and seconded by Mr. Page. Mrs. Page, sorry. All those in favour, please raise their hands. Thank you very much. I don't believe there's anyone against, but if they are, please raise their hands. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 8, note the members which the leader proposes to appoint to the Cabinet. Mr. Rushton will move.
Chairman, thank you very much. Can I move the list 1 attached to the order paper as members of the Cabinet?
Thank you. Mrs. Taylor will second.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are we all happy to note? Oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Bray, sorry.
Yeah, Chairman, look, because of the special circumstances, we won't oppose this today, but going forward, we do think that increasing the Cabinet membership at a time when other services are being cut back is not necessarily the right thing. But because of the special circumstances which Nick finds himself in, which we all wish him well with, we will not oppose it today, but we will look to see that reduced in the future.
Mr. Rushton.
Thank you for that, Stuart.
Are there any other comments at all? Mr. Bedford, MP.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Just as I am obviously leaving the Cabinet due to my election to the House of Commons, I'd just like to put on record my thanks to Nick and the Cabinet for their support over the last few years that I've been serving. Making decisions on this council, on any council, is very tough, particularly under tough financial climate. And I know that every member of the Cabinet has always made the decisions that they felt right for the residents of Leicestershire, regardless of the politics between the parties. So I just want to put on my record my thanks to Nick as leader and the Cabinet for their support to me over the last few years. And I do know that the new Member of Parliament for Mid Leicestershire is cognizant of the financial pressures that local government faces. And you may just see a speech coming up shortly that will raise that issue in Parliament, because I think it's essential that local government is adequately funded so that we can provide the services that our residents need. And I very much hope that the incoming government listens to that argument and that we have the right level of funding so we can continue to deliver the services that our residents have enjoyed in the past. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any other comments at all? No. I can assure you all comments have been noted, and so we move on. Thank you very much. I think that brings us to the close of the official meeting. It's just that I've had a text a few moments ago that actually said that if anybody's looking to do a supermarket dash tonight, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock is the ideal time. The shops are going to be empty, apparently. I have no reason why, but I will be watching television at 8 o'clock for a 2-0 win to England. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone.